Guys, have you ever felt stuck, like life wasn't moving forward, like whatever you tried, things just weren't moving, right? That's exactly how I felt before I ended up coming to Morocco. And trust me, you do not want to miss this story because it has lots of ups and downs. And it might motivate you if you're thinking of coming to Morocco to live here. Maybe you shouldn't give up so easily. Okay, so it all started when I was working in Japan. I actually ended up working in Japan for like 10 years, right? In the beginning, it was amazing. I enjoyed every little bit. I loved the sushi. I loved Mount Fuji. I like to visit Muji. By the way, those are all real words. And I would just enjoy my life. But there came a time, it was after COVID, when things started to stagnate. The vibe at work changed. Bills were harder to pay. And wasn't really saving much money. I don't know if this sounds familiar to you, but maybe we've all been through this stage in life. And maybe you're in this stage right now. But long story short, had a chat with my wife and we decided, okay, let's let's take a leap of faith and let's end up, in another beautiful place like Japan. So we decided to book one-way tickets to Turkey, which we did. And we were really excited. We, hired someone to help us get our visas there because you can apply for a 1-year tourist visa in Turkey. So we did that. And we were really excited. 3 months later, long story short, rejection. We had fulfilled all the criteria. And even the lawyer was confused as to why they didn't give it to us. Now, I suspect it had something to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, right? That was going on. It was just erupted more or less at the time we left. Prices in Turkey were inflating. They were rejecting tourist visas left, right, and center. As far as I was aware, I, went on YouTube. Lots of people were getting rejected. So, said, super disappointed. What the heck do we do now? After, frantically researching online what to do next, we discovered that as a British citizen, I can go to Georgia, sorry. And we can stay there for up to a year and figure things out. So we took a bus about, I think it was 4 or 5 hours from the city of Trabzon, which were where we were located, um, in Turkey. So we went to, I think it's Batumi or something like that. And guess what? They didn't even let us through the border. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not on any crazy list or anything like that. I suspect it could be two possibilities. The Russia-Ukraine war, number one. Or number two, it could be that we had like lots of suitcases and they didn't want people coming into their country, inflating the prices. Rent prices in Turkey and in Georgia were going crazy through the roof because there's lots of Russians and Ukrainians, at that time, kind of inflating prices. So at that point, we had like 3 days left on our visa in Turkey, our tourist visa. You can only get a max of 3 months, right? So you're like, oh my God, what the heck do we do? So long story short, well, it's a long story anyway, but you get what I'm trying to say. We ended up just heading back to the UK from Japan to Turkey to Georgia to the UK. We stayed there for a few months and trying to gather ideas what to do. Then an idea popped in my head. I don't know if it was my idea. I can't remember, to be honest. Or maybe it was my mum's. Um, let's go to Morocco. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go to Morocco. And we'll try to, get residency, etc. So what I did was I packed my bags again, took my family with me. By the way, we have 2 kids we're lugging around. And I forgot to mention this actually. In On the way to Turkey, from Japan to Turkey, the flight was delayed 5 hours. And we had actually a connection flight to catch. But this connection flight, it was, there was like a nice 8-hour gap in between. So we thought, no, it'll be fine. But after 5 hours of delay, reaching Istanbul, we had to then take another taxi all the way to the second airport in Istanbul. I think it's the old airport. We literally just got there in the nick of time. They were literally boarding. And if we were 5 minutes later, then we probably wouldn't have caught the flight. So yeah, you can imagine the high stress level from the very beginning. As soon as we left Japan, So that stress level is something I've never really experienced. Well, I've experienced stress, but that kind of crazy stress level. And, the taxi driver was kind of driving like too fast, too furious. He was literally hitting the pedal to the metal because we told him our situation and he was like, okay, cool. And, people drive quite fast in Turkey anyway. Anyway, back to the last point, which was back in the UK. So we decided to go to Morocco. We ended up going for like 6 to 9 months, I believe, trying to get visas sorted out, trying to get stuff sorted out. Long story short, issues with the marriage certificate. Basically, we got married Islamically, and then we got married, by paper in Japan. So there was a bit of headache when it came to legalizing it in Morocco. They're like, nope, we can't accept it. You need to go back to the UK to do something at the embassy, blah, blah, blah. So we went back to the UK. And long story short, again, the UK is like, no, 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 no. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to be a Bedouin. I'm just going to go to the desert. Or no, man, I'm just going to live in the mountains because it looks like no country wants us. We shouldn't have left Japan. This is what was running through my head. Like, oh, we should have just stayed. And, I should have found another job, or I should have just, I like change, to be honest. I'm probably going to, get bored of Morocco. I hope not. Probably not. And we went back to the UK, and I'm like, you know what? Never give up. As they say, it's not cliche. It's actually true. Because I think Allah tests you. God tests you when you're on your most difficult times. And like, what are you going to do? Are you just going to give up and lay down and submit to defeat? Or are you going to trust in God and keep going? So I decided to have one last attempt. So what I did is I called a friend that lives in Morocco. And the funny thing is I have never met him previous to contacting him, only online. After I left Japan as a student, I went to Japan for a year first, and then I went back to the UK, and then I went back to work. Well, he also went as a student. And when I left, he arrived and people told him about me. So he contacted me on Facebook. And without him, I wouldn't be in Morocco. He hooked me up with like a A-class lawyer who did backflips, front flips to, legalize everything. And that's why now I am here legally. And I'm here without having to go to SEPTA, which is okay. So let me explain this. There's so much to say. I don't know if I'm rambling, but basically, if you don't have a residency visa, you can still live here, actually, which is what we did. We went to SEPTA every 3 months, but it's inconvenient, going to SEPTA, coming back. It takes a whole day. Can't be bothered sometimes. You just want to live without worrying, oh, is my 3 months almost up? So we could have done that indefinitely, but I don't think it's a good way of living, It's not kind of stable. Anything could go wrong. COVID could happen again, some kind of COVID. The borders are closed. What are you going to do next? So we wanted to, be actual residents. And now that's where we are. So that whole journey took about 2 or 3 years. It actually took a year for the lawyer, or less than a year, to process everything, to get things done. It wasn't an easy task because of the situation. It's a little complex, or my particular situation. And after hardship comes ease. I mean, it's all good now. And we're living here, palm trees, swimming pools, you know, nothing I could have had in Japan or the UK with my budget, let's say. So if you are thinking of coming not to Japan, to Morocco, definitely do it. But learn from my mistakes. If you have any questions, actually, please put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Sometimes I am busy. Might take me a few days to answer, or even a week, but I'll get back to you. Also, tell me in the comments, have you ever gone through some crazy situation where you were like, what the heck do I do? Like, literally, you've exhausted all possibilities. And I guess we should have relied on God from the beginning, but that's all you can really do now. Is just rely on God, let him take you where he takes you. So yeah, let me know. Guys, also don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. I'm gonna hopefully try to go around different parts of Morocco, take you around, maybe tell you a bit more about my story. And yeah, I shall see you on the next video, God willing. مع السلامة.